Welcome back to the Fallbar Baseball Show. Kevin and Ryan coming to you one more time before we both head back to Memphis from our respective homes. So maybe when we're back at school, we'll be able to get in the same room and get a little more involved, interactive, in-person Fallbar experience, which would be great. Ryan, how's it going down there? How's the weather in Atlanta? It's snowing here.
Yeah, it's like 60 degrees here because God
So
forbid we ever
great.
have an actual winter. But it's good. It's it's sunny. So take that.
Sunny. It snowed way too much here. I know when we go back to Memphis, it could be 60 degrees and sunny. It could also be 25 on any given day
Right, exactly.
anywhere.
That's kind of
You
how it is
really,
here.
you really never know what you're going to get. But anyways, what we're going to do today is we're going to basically make an all-star team or all MLB team based on our designations of who the best was at every position, three outfielders, DH, couple starters, couple relievers. Gonna go through it, crunch some numbers, look at stats, debate some guys, and then come up with a list of who deserves it. Before we do that, maybe it's worth talking a little bit about the Japanese ball players that signed over the past week or so. Tetsuya Imai to Houston for 3 years and 54 million, and then Kaz Okamoto, I think it was 4 years, 60 million to the Blue Jays. So if you have any thoughts on either or both of those two guys,
I thought the EMI signing was interesting because all I had heard leading up to the the signing was he was going to sign with a Northeast team, and it kind of sounded like he was in the mix with the Mets. I heard a lot about
New
the
York team.
Yankees. I heard some about, I think I heard some with the Red Sox too. And then when the signing came out, he was between the Astros and the Braves, which just didn't really line up with any of the rumors I had heard, which you know, I guess they're rumors for a reason, but at the same time, it's like those rumors tend to be relatively realistic for the most
Hmm.
part and like have the ability to at least narrow it down. And he ended up going to Houston, which personally I think is a great fit, but it was
Agree.
just kind of interesting because all the all the buzz around him suggested nothing about that.
Yeah, and I think it's good for Houston because they need another sure hand in their rotation because they've dealt with players leaving, them not wanting to shell out big contracts, injuries hit Houston's pitching a little harder than they hit other teams. So I feel like Imai is not a guy who looks like he's super prone to get hurt. He's a little bigger than some of the other guys that have come over from Japan and maybe dealt with arm issues and adjusting to the size of the ball. And 18 million a year, I mean, maybe he's not great, but in today's market, that's not a big gamble for any sort of starting pitcher. That's kind of what you have to pay to get a mid rotation guy.
Right, yeah, and with Houston probably not being able to pay Valdez as well, it's kind of like the perfect fit of price and what kind of rotation piece they were looking for. They didn't need somebody for the back end they didn't need an ace. They needed, somebody to fit that 2, 3, 4 role, whatever he's going to be for them. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
really think it's a really good move for them.
I totally agree. The Okamoto signing to Toronto interests me a little bit, especially because I think about where they're going to put him on the field. And like, if you want him to play at third, you have Clement, who's good at third. If you want him to play first, you have Vladdy. So you don't want him to play first. And if he's the DH, then George Springer and Anthony Santander are probably playing in the outfield a lot more than the team should bargain for. So, I mean, credit to the Blue Jays for using the money that they have to go out and get another good hitter and a good player. I'm curious how the fit kind of cheaps out either him or some other guys and they end up making it work.
Yeah, I thought that one was interesting too because it didn't really seem like they were moving on from Bo, but it made it seem like they have another option in case the market doesn't cool down on him and in case they end up not wanting to pay him the money. But yeah, I don't know much about Okamoto, so I can't really um address whether this is like an amazing signing for them or not. But I think it's interesting regarding Bo, regarding Tucker, and how they're going to go about signing those guys, and what pieces they would move where if they were to.
I think it's probably dims the chances of Bo and maybe completely closes out the chances of Bregman. Because if you're going to sign a guy that's a third base, second base mix, now that you have Okamoto, Clement, and Barger and Andre Gimenez, the shortstop, all still on your team, and three of those guys were very big pieces in the playoffs last year. It feels like that money is more likely to go somewhere else if you're the Blue Jays because
Yeah,
there's still money to spend for them. Maybe we'll talk about free agent
for sure.
predictions another time, another week, depending on how long this team takes us. The Blue Jays more than likely will get another guy,
Yeah, for sure.
but they
For
kind of
sure.
pick up Okamoto on their way. What I've seen from the numbers and people talking about him is he's got upside for good power and also makes good contact, which on the surface, obviously, that sounds like exactly what you want. The last Japanese guy they said about that was Masataka Yoshida. And when he's been healthy, all that power upside they were talking about basically hasn't translated over. The making contact is fine because if you can do that, you can kind of do that at any league in the world if you have enough professional experience. But the pop being able to translate over is something that would be a little bit wary of just based on experience with most Japanese guys. And I don't know why it's a little different or a little more difficult for them, but the Blue Jays have some guys with pretty big swings that can hit the ball pretty hard or pretty far, so they might be able to work it out perfectly with him. But I'm curious how that all comes together and like who's playing where, who's doing what when their roster's finally set. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, let's get into this team here if there's nothing else to really cover.
Right, yeah, let's rip it. Let's see what we can
If
come up with.
if we start at catcher, we start with a very easy one. So maybe we should talk about who comes in second
Yeah. So,
because
yeah, Cal Raleigh is the obvious pick for this year,
mhm,
because he leads WAR by almost double what second place has. Um, but second place, like if we're gonna talk about it just a little bit,
there's a game
um,
here.
Alejandro Kirk had an amazing defensive season and honestly a pretty really solid season at the plate. Um, he's still not a guy that's going to put out 20 or more a year, but he still had 15 pumps this year. We had Langoliers who had 31. He really started to turn things around. His WRC plus was 132. And then I'd put William Contreras and Hunter Goodman in that battle a little bit.
Mhm.
But if I had to give it to a second place guy, I mean, Kirk's defense was insane. I can't believe he didn't win the Gold Gloves. So,
Yeah, I mean Dylan Dingler's defense was pretty solid too.
yeah, of
His
course.
was more like King related,
Yeah.
and Kirk's got a really good arm. I'm going to throw another name in the hat just for the sake of it because I think he shows up as qualified for not playing enough games. Will Smith,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did.
436 plate appearances, so not nothing. 153 WRC plus, which is second best among all catchers. Kind of the only guy who is even close to Cal Raleigh. Now he played 20 fewer games than Kirk. He walked more, but also struck out more. I mean, Will Smith walked 14.7% of the time. Maybe some of that is product of who he's around and who he hits after in his lineup,
Yeah.
but his offensive numbers were legit. So I'd say, I mean, we don't have to pick a winner here. It's Kirk for the defense if you're a defensive guy. If you want raw offense, Shea Langoliers was good. Will Smith was up
Pretty
there for one of the
outstanding.
best seasons of his career, which if you look at what he's put together and if he does it for a couple more years, people will start giving him Hall of Fame chirps, especially with how much he's won.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I
But
mean, I I think if this were any other position, we would be jumping all over Will Smith and
yeah,
kind of giving Kirk his flowers, but pretty handedly giving this catcher two position to Will Smith. But I think because of how valuable defense is at
it's
catcher and
catcher.
how well Kirk does it, there's for sure a an argument for Kirk. And honestly, I think I'm still giving him the nod just for this year.
Yeah, I agree with you because catcher is so defense heavy and having a really good defensive one can make your team so much better.
Right.
The Red Sox kind of felt that this year. Obviously, Carlos Narvaez is a little bit further down this list, but he was such a big jump defensively from the catchers of a couple of years ago, and it really changes a lot. And I know the Blue Jays value having Kirk in there, and also Kirk's strikeout rate is impressively low, 11.7.
Yeah.
He's not a bad and kind of never has been a bad offensive player by any means. So
Yeah. No.
I'd, I'd probably side with slightly above average and really good defense, slightly above average offense that is over Smith plays fine defense. He's not a gold glover anymore, but he's got really good offense. But be that as it may, Cal Raleigh, 60 home runs, absolutely runs away.
Right. Yeah. Not even a real debate. All
Yeah.
right. You want to do first base next?
First bag. First base is it's interesting only because
Hmm.
you can talk about games played. Because if you look at the numbers that aren't counting stats, Nick Kurtz is far and away dominant.
Yeah.
Because he had an incredible historic, like every year we say, oh, this guy had a historic rookie season. No, this really was impressive from him.
Right. Yeah. Like, and I think what's crazy about his production is how sustainable it was
Hmm.
and how like consistent it was and how the like underlying advanced numbers really like align that he wasn't getting extremely lucky and he wasn't favoring that much from that minor league ballpark that they play in Sacramento. It's like
Yeah.
this guy was crushing it everywhere. His advanced numbers are, well into the red on his Savant page,
Hmm.
and it's just so impressive what he was able to do and able to keep doing after 117 games because we see guys come up all the time and they start mashing and it's like, all right, this guy's really good, but how long is he going to do this for? We kind of saw it with
Hmm.
James Wood this year where he was one of the best players on earth for about 60 games and then, you know, I think he dealt with a little bit of injury and then came back
Chilled
and
out a
just
little bit.
wasn't the same. Um, so it's yeah, it's pretty beyond impressive what Kurtz was able to do, especially after being in college like 2 years ago. So yeah,
I mean, I'm inclined to give it to Nick because if you look if you look at WRC plus, which is a good kind of one look measure for offensive production, He's at 170, which is 70 points above league average. In second place is your guy Pete Alonso at 141.
Yeah.
And the best first basemen are kind of in the 130 to 140 range, which is it's good. I mean, like Matt Olson does that, Vladdy does that, Freddie Freeman does that. They're all there, and you're happy with it. But when Nick Kurtz was on the field, he was doing something that is a clear consideration above all of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I I really considered Olsen for this position because he
Hmm.
played such great defense this year and he kind of kept
Yeah, Nick
Atlanta
Kurtz
like
never did
fighting.
do that.
And I just really love Olsen because he literally has not missed a game with Atlanta yet. Um, so for me, it's close just because he's such a workhorse. I think I'm gonna give it to Kurtz, but it's one of those things where I'm like very like even there. I could really go either way, but if I were to have to like go with a guy, I'd go with Kurtz.
Yeah, and there are other guys that can kind of make it a race too. I mean, Vladdy, especially what he did as the leader of that team, which doesn't really show up on the stat sheet, but he kind of deserves more credit for doing that. Um, Freddie Freeman, I think, is behind this top group because he he doesn't have as much pop as he used to. I mean, he's getting older. It looks a little different now, but you look at the numbers that he puts up, and he's still kind of Freddie Freeman. I mean, he hit 295 and had a 139 WRC plus. That is not too far off from what his prime numbers look like.
Yeah, he's not like moving like he used to, but
Yeah.
he he's still putting up similar numbers. Like he was always kind of an average first guy, and that's still what he's kind of doing. But yeah,
My, but
I think Freeman and Guerrero put up a little bit of a contest here, but and like I think Alonso and Bush also deserve their flowers because of the
good
strides they
years.
made from their previous season. Um, but yeah, I don't really think anybody makes a run at the top two
Yeah,
or a
I
real
agree.
legitimate one, that is.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say with Nick to not, this is not to take him down and not vote him or anything, but strikes out a lot, 30% of the time, more than any other first baseman, swings and misses a lot. I'm a little worried about people really figuring out how to pitch to him because now he's a guy that other teams have to plan for. So, I mean, he had 1,000 OPS. Obviously, if he regresses a little bit, it makes sense, but there are kind of some signs of that happening, maybe. And I don't know how much that ballpark made a difference or didn't make a difference. He came, I mean, he hit on the road too. So he is a very legit hitter, but the swing and miss is real and the strikeout is real. But we're playing baseball now where you can strike out a lot, close to 30% of the time, and you can still be a very good hitter. And exactly what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that too. I didn't really put too much thought into it, because his
Well,
walk
there's a
rate is
lot of
still relatively high. But yeah, I do think that's interesting, and I'm curious how that's gonna end up panning out at the start of next year.
there's a lot of other good stuff. Just before we move on, Vladdy Guerrero, 13.8 strikeout rate, 12% walk rate. Those splits are
Wow.
pretty much as good as they can get, especially for a first baseman, or usually they're kind of free swingers.
Yeah.
But congratulations to Nick Kurtz, first fall bar first baseman of all time.
Good for him.
Second base. Now this one,
Ooh.
there are some ducks in the race, I think. Well, it kind of looks as if there is, but I'm inclined to think that there aren't.
It's like that there's one guy that like jumps off the sheet, but
Mhm.
the overlying numbers are making me think harder about it. I mean, I think one thing that's nuts is Nico Horner's 7.6 K rate to 6 walk rate. That's a
Yeah,
crazy split.
yeah.
Um,
He's just putting it in play.
yeah, and
And
it's
he's first
working.
in F war.
That's I mean his defense was lights out. We knew
He's
that.
he's always been a little war goblin.
Right, yeah. And Terang won a platinum glove last year,
Mhm.
so he does well with the defense. Clement's a great defender as well. I think I'm stuck between the top. Well, no, Jazz really put together a solid year last year. He kind
Yeah,
of figured it out with the twig down the stretch, and he's always a solid defender.
Cass struck out a ton.
Yeah,
I
that's
did
kind of his
not think he would.
game now.
I did not think he was a 28% guy.
Oh
He
God,
must miss a lot.
I'm super torn here.
7 percentile whiff rate. The elephant in the room is Ketel Marte. Offensively, he is
Yeah,
way better than any of these guys. But
yeah,
we're at a position up the middle of the field, and in terms of value production, it's worth having a conversation with some of these gold glovers or I guess competing gold glove finalists in the NL. Nico Horner, 109 WRC plus, Bryce Terang, 124. I guess the defense maybe wasn't as electric as it was last year, which defensive numbers can kind of get finicky from year to year. Ketel Marte, the defense is what it is, but he slugged 517, which is more than any second baseman by what I'm seeing is at least 40 points. He had
yeah,
28 home runs, which is near the top of this list, and he did it only in 126 games. The thing that's worth questioning about Ketel Marte that we kind of passed by with Nick Kurtz is he missed a month.
yeah,
Do we want the team to be guys that missed a month, or do we want it to be guys that played the whole season? Which makes it harder to give him a vote if he played 30 less games than all these guys.
yeah. I think I'm still riding with Marte because his WAR was able to be on par with these guys and playing 30 less games. He kind of did exactly what Jazz did, but better. So I'm
Probably better.
kind of throwing Jazz out of the race here. I
Yeah, I
really
agree.
want to put Turang in there just because I kind of like how he plays baseball. It's kind of like smooth. He's got that sweet
Mm-hmm.
swing, but I don't think I'm putting him above Horner because Horner essentially did what he does, but a little bit better. And I don't know. I think I'm giving it to Marte here still. I don't really think second base is one of those positions where you're desperately in need of the best defender on the field.
Yeah, because it's
And
easier than some of the other ones.
right, absolutely. And if you're able to get a second baseman who can slug 517 on any given year, you're kind of in the right spot. And there's a reason why Cattell hasn't been traded yet is because
Mm-hmm.
nobody's willing to give up the haul that he's actually worth. And um, yeah, I mean, there's no reason uh, for me at least to go away from Marte here. Although it's
Yeah,
tight, it's Cattell's the guy for me.
yeah, I agree. The games played question is definitely there, but then that also brings me the question like, well, if he played 145 games, he would have passed Nico Horner on WAR and been the best, and it would have been easy.
Right,
So like, I understand, and you're exactly right about the trade. Like, Arizona's not being stupid; they're not being irrational.
right.
He's actually he's actually worth that. He's probably one of the 10 best players in baseball if we're looking at the past 2 years and what he's been able to do offensively is so unique, maybe 15 or something teen, but it really is up there if you put his numbers, especially as a middle infielder or a first baseman, up some of the infielders around. I check Nico Horner's Savant page. This is going to make you feel better about your decision and not want to vote for him. Average exit velo, ninth percentile, barrel rate, sixth percentile, hard hit rate, eighth percentile.
Yeah, I what kind of actually made my decision for me was checking those four guys' savant pages. And partially it's because I didn't know how good Martes was. I mean, it makes sense, but I kind of for some reason expected him to be like a guy that gets a little bit luckier than I thought he would. I don't know why I thought that, but
He's kind of like Vladdy. He makes like hard, loud contact and makes it a lot.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that his yeah, I that's just kind of how I went about my process of
Mhm.
choosing one or the other, and I really think Marte is the more valuable guy here this year.
I agree. I think Nico's game is great. It's unique. It's perfect for what a lot of like teams and old school coaches are looking for. But
Yeah,
who would you want on your team for 2025? If you ask it that way, then it's not even a question.
right, exactly.
There goes second base.
Sweet.
Can move over to the
Third
left side of the infield.
base.
Third base. You jog my memory on some of the top guys. Well, of course, it was Jose Ramirez, and then it was everyone that's not Jose
Yeah.
Ramirez. There's a chance this one doesn't take too long.
Yeah, it just feels like Jose Ramirez finds his way to be the best third baseman in baseball every single year, no matter how he
Mhm.
starts or finishes.
It's true, and
And
he always finds his way to hit 30 home runs and steal at least 30 bases. He stole 44
jeez, it's like
good
he
runs
does
again.
everything. He plays really solid defense over there at the hot corner. He steals bases like crazy. He hits for power. He hits for average. He's a switch hitter. He doesn't really strike out much and he walks a little bit too. Like he's so
That's a lot.
complete as a baseball player and he's not like he's not like Bobby Witt Jr. complete, if that makes sense, where he's like excelling at really anything because he kind of doesn't, he's not the top end in the league at one
Hmm.
specific thing. He's
Yeah.
like top five in everything. Um, so yeah, it's just every year he continues to be consistently so good over there at third base. And I mean, this year, nobody really even made a run for it against him. I guess like the one guy who, had he played enough games, would rival him might have been Bregman.
Yeah, and
But
even
even still, I'm not sure.
Bregman's games at the end of the summer after he, quite frankly, being someone that watched him every day, rushed back from his injury to make sure that he was in the lineup for the playoff
Yeah.
race, and it kind of hurt him. He was great before he got hurt. His OPS was over 900. If he stayed on that pace, it would have really rivaled Jose, but that's a hard pace to stay on, whether you get healthy or not. Alex Bregman is kind of an 800 something OPS guy, not really a 900 OPS guy. And Jose Ramirez, like you said, he's not the strongest or most powerful or fastest, but he's really strong and really powerful and really fast. And he does it all super consistently and super well. So no one's really in the breath of him right now at third base. I was looking at the numbers here. The two other guys that slugged over 500, Jose and Caminero and Suarez, the on base percentages were 298, 311, and 360. And I bet you would know which one was 360.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh, that's
he has a the mix of on base and power that I mean we've seen guys like Austin Riley and Manny Machado and even Bregman do that, but this year he was the only one to really do it. So
Yeah. I think Michael Garcia deserves his flowers too.
great
Um,
defense.
his K and walk rate splits were almost identical to Ramirez's. He hit with a 121 OPS plus, or excuse me, WRC plus, which is, very impressive. And then he does it really well on the defensive end. So
Mhm,
he was actually like kind of rivaled Ramirez in terms of WAR, but Ramirez again just did everything he did, but a little bit better.
mhm. That's the other thing with WAR, and it's why Horner was so high up there is the amount that defense and base running are pooled into WAR,
Yeah.
especially based on what position you play. So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, but also they bring in conversations about every aspect of the game and who really is producing the most value.
Yeah, for sure.
Jose Ramirez, Fallbar, third baseman. Invite him
I
out to the
expect the
award
same
show.
next year.
I expect the same next year. Absolutely. Shortstop, a bunch of good guys, kind of also a clear favorite,
Yeah,
but still a bunch of good guys.
there's a lot of good guys this year, actually. And for a position that has been within the last 5 years one of the weaker ones in baseball, there's a lot of big names on here that we can kind of talk about. I think the favorite for sure is Wit
Mhm,
because again, kind of what I just talked about, he excels at multiple things on the field where he's one of the fastest, if not the fastest player in baseball. He is one of the best defenders in baseball, if not the best. Um, and then his power wasn't as big this year, but he, was still able to do it with the twig a lot, get on base a lot. So he's a clear favorite.
mhm.
Geraldo Perdomo came out of nowhere this year and
Yes,
decided
yes,
that
he
he
did.
wanted to be fourth in the MVP race.
He
And
deserved it.
or did he end up being? No, he ended up being fourth, and he probably deserved to be higher. Um, so he definitely, without anything else, should get his flowers.
Mhm,
Turner had a really big bounce back defensive year and still hit for a 304 average. Obviously, the power isn't always there, but and then Lindor, again, fantastic defender, all around hitter, 30 stolen bags, 31 homers. So there's a lot to talk about here. Pena had a good season, especially on defense, but I think there's kind of one guy that just jumps out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in terms of some of the other guys, Trey Turner, very big deal for him to do what he did and kind of tell all of Philadelphia that he's not just going to wither away because he doesn't have to. I mean, he
Right.
was kind of talked about as one of the worst defenders at shortstop, but his bat and his speed was keeping him there, and he shut everyone up about that this year. Francisco Lindor, it's a typical Francisco Lindor season. Jeremy Pena was awesome at shortstop. He's athletic freak, makes plays
Yeah.
that a lot of other people don't, but who also makes the plays that Jeremy Pena makes. Bobby Witt does.
Right.
And Bobby
Yeah.
Witt is the fastest and the best defender. And in terms of shortstops, he's a better hitter than all of them.
I think going back to Turner as well, just for a second, the one concern with his long contract was what's going to happen once he gets older and loses his
Mm-hmm.
speed. But if he can continue to play defense like he did, then he's going to create a lot of value for Philly once that contract starts to get close to expiring. And if he can still continue to put the ball in play at a relatively high rate, even if his power goes, which I don't entirely expect it to go any more than it already has,
Yeah.
um, I think he still could honestly put up like a Nico Horner-esque production where he's scrappy and uh plays good defense on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, and
But
he's still fast. So
yeah,
not going anywhere
absolutely.
soon.
But then what I was just gonna get into is I think the pick here is Wit. It
Yeah,
wasn't
the
as
picks for sure.
impressive as
Wit.
it was last year. I think he had 10 over 10 WAR last year, but um he just he's just so good at everything. And if he is like still pretty much like easily the best defender in the league or the best shortstop in the league, and he's only hitting 23 home runs, I can't even imagine what he'll do if he gets back up to that mid 30s, close to 40 range.
Right. This is not even Bobby Witt's best, and Bobby Witt's 85% is still good enough to be the best shortstop in the league, which
Right.
is which is pretty great for him. Geraldo Perdomo, your second place trophy will be shipped to the DR. We will get our guys on that. Um, awesome season. I hope you do it again. I kind of don't know if you will, but like he's kind of a guy that a bit has been like meddling around Arizona. I don't think he's that old.
I don't think so either. Let me find
So
out here.
I'm hoping Geraldo Perdomo, I like you a
Oh,
lot.
he's
Like
not old at all.
he's
26.
26. So hopefully this is like a breakout and stay
Right. Yeah.
for him because he, to his credit, basically everything you want in your shortstop, he did really well last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see if he stays at the top. Same with Jeremy Pena, and then the old guys like Turner and Lindor's not super old, but he's getting to the other side of 30.
Yeah,
Their careers are going to slow down at some point, but they've been doing a pretty good job for themselves at making sure that they don't.
absolutely.
I believe we hit the outfield.
Yep. I'm there as well.
Just
The
need
old
three of
left
them.
field.
Do you want to
Interesting.
do it? Do you want to do it by left, center, right, or do you want to just take the best three outfielders?
Let's do the best three outfielders. I like that. All right.
Well,
Well,
I
I
know
know who
one.
one is.
I know
I
one.
think Aaron Judge is
Yeah, he wins.
very easily number one here. He wins in just about everything. I think he could play catcher and still win, even though he has never done that before. But yeah,
Yeah, Aaron Judge did it again.
what he does on the offensive side of the baseball is just ridiculous. He doesn't even need to play good defense. He played better defense this year too.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's not like grossly bad.
right, yeah. It was getting a little gross when he was playing a lot of center field for them
Mhm.
last year, but it was much better this year when he moved back to right. He's just more natural there anyways.
Mhm. I mean, we can move on from Judge. He outslugged the next best guy by 128 points.
Oh God, he's so ridiculous.
So it's not even worth it. The pick that I want to introduce for second or one of the last two spots, also a right fielder, is Juan Soto.
Yeah, I I want to put Soto in there. Well, of course I do, because I'm a Mets fan. But it was like watching his second half was a spiritual experience that I wish every fan gets to enjoy with a player of theirs at some point. Um, because he was just so good. He was so
Mhm.
hard to get out. He was hitting pitches that's he just made baseball look easy at the plate. Yeah, he loves that top of the zone fastball.
High pitch.
And was the defense a little ugly? Yeah,
It
it
has
was.
been.
I will say it passed the eye test enough for me to be not disturbed by it. But there were some times where I was like, wow, that ball is not getting caught. Okay. Um, so I'm I think he's definitely gonna go in my top three for sure, just because you can kind of hide his defense a little bit.
He's in my top
Um,
three for sure too.
and the offense is just ridiculous. He was so, so good, especially down the stretch. And if he can kind of start the way he finished and keep going, he could honestly find himself in an MVP spot.
We're back at MVP. Yeah, for sure.
As long as Otani, doesn't do something ridiculous like he does every
Hmm.
year. But
Yeah, it's
the
almost shocking now that Juan Soto at 27 doesn't have an MVP yet because he's put up about four MVP seasons and has just lost to somebody else.
Yeah,
Usually Shohei now that he's been with the Dodgers, but I put him down because he's definitely in my top three too. So we can just work for a third spot.
yeah. I, oh gosh, this third spot is so tough because there's a lot of names that you could put out there.
Hmm.
I think all the guys with five or more WAR fight for that position. I don't want to put Armstrong there, Crow
I
Armstrong,
don't
excuse
either.
me, because his second half was so bad.
He wasn't a good
Um,
enough hitter compared to the rest of these guys.
and I really like what I'm looking at when I see Corbin Carroll,
Hmm.
and I, but he wasn't that much better than Tatis was offensively. Um,
He
gosh, it's
slugged
tough.
it way better though.
Way better. And that's kind of what's drawing me away from Tatis is it felt like he was hitting a home run every month.
Hmm.
He just couldn't like he started out so so well and then kind of just fell off a cliff a little bit. I like what I saw out of Springer this year. He hit the ball super well, but the defense was like almost worse than Soto's and he played mostly center field when he was out there. He played a lot of DH this year too, so
Yeah, he did.
I don't really want to put him in the outfield
Hmm.
consideration. And then Buxton was good, but he played 126 games because he's Byron Buxton, which is
My only
unfortunate. But
thing, good for Byron Buxton, 26. That's more than usual.
yeah, no, literally. Yeah, good for
Uh,
him.
my thing that was holding me back from Corbin Carroll in terms of Tatis and Julio Rodriguez was the defense because on the fan graphs, like defensive run value metric, it's a low number. It's because of his arm strength. He had 96th
Yeah.
percentile outs above average. It's in right field, but he's
Wow.
right there with those guys, and he hit 31 home runs.
Mm. Yeah.
So
I'm kind of looking up.
that makes me inclined to almost lock him in.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking at these guys' run values on Savant right now. And I think what's gonna get me to Carroll is the base running because he's 100th
He's so
percentile in
fast.
base running run value. Who'd you lock in for your three spot? Did you say Carroll?
Harold, Judge, Soto.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be my top three as well. Um,
Yeah,
I didn't really look too much at J-Rod, but I think I'm gonna stop looking too much at J-Rod because
the
that
offense is
280
below.
that or no, never mind. I was looking at the wrong guy, but even still, 324 on base percentage. Just
It's just worse than
swings and
these other
misses too
guys.
much.
He strikes
Just
out a
strikes
lot.
out too much.
He's a great
Although Carroll
player.
strikes out more. But um, yeah, Carroll really turned it on with the offense this year, and the speed is like otherworldly. And if you had to make an outfield with the three guys we just picked and you put Soto on left and Judge and right, Carroll can make up the ground that Judge and
Shocking.
Soto, lack. So he could honestly go out there and make catches in deep left center field and be okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think it wouldn't make sense for us to try and convince ourselves that it should be a different third guy because he kind of beats all those guys in a lot of different departments.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we want to do DH? Yeah, let's do DH.
Yeah, we want to do DH. I mean, we don't really have to do it, but
Oh gosh. Well, Otani. Forgot about
I mean,
him. But yeah.
Schwarber, you were great, man.
Yeah, you put up a fight.
Had a lot of home
Proud of
runs.
you.
Your second place trophy will be shipped to your hometown of Middletown, Ohio.
Yep. Thank you, Kyle Schwarber. Thank you, Shohei Ohtani, for being the greatest player on earth.
First player on earth. He just hits it really far a lot. And that's really that's what you want to do. You keep it super simple. 55 home runs, 622 slugs, second to Judge. I mean, that's still 60 points less than Judge, but it's as close as we're going to get. And Shohei Ohtani, he is the truth. And
He sure is.
we don't need to spend too much time. I mean, Schwarber walks well. He has a lot of great isolated power, but nothing he does is better or at the level at the volume that Ohtani produces. So we don't have to spend too much time worrying about it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to sneeze. I'm trying to forget. It's not great, really, to have an on-air sneeze. But sometimes you
Sometimes they
can't
just
pick all
don't.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Pitching, I say we do five starters,
I was thinking about doing the same. Yeah.
as some of them will go quick, and then maybe three relievers, just like
Yeah, I like that
a
number.
couple.
Yeah.
So in terms of starting pitching, the first two, the Cy Young winners are locked in, of course.
Yeah. I mean, Tarek Skubal and
Eanes and
Skeens were
Scooble.
otherworldly this year. And then I want to slide in Crochet at the three, I think.
I do too.
He his second half wasn't as good as his first half was, it felt. I think down like the stretch he got hit a little bit harder than he had
Mhm.
before that, but
Yeah,
he's
it's true.
still just so good. Um, and his
He was
expected numbers are right up
first in
there with his
strikeouts
actual.
per nine.
Yeah, his xFIP was actually lower than his regular FIP,
Hmm.
um, which is wildly impressive. I I don't really think there's any reason for him to be outside the top five, so I don't want to spend too much time on him, but
Yeah, there is no reason.
he just had so many ways to get hitters out, and he throws so hard from a weird slot, you know, just insane.
Now these
Um,
last two spots are pretty interesting.
yeah, I think Christopher Sanchez this year did enough where I'm not really second guessing
Mhm.
him in there. I think I'm gonna slide him in at the four, at least for right now.
I was poking
Um,
around to see if like Christopher Sanchez, who had 6.4 F4, which is point 1 less than Paul Skeens, if there was like something about him that made it look like he didn't deserve it. And his strikeout rate is less than the other guys, but it's not how many guys you can strike out, it's how many runs you can prevent. And I don't think
yeah,
there's anything to have him that high in F4. There's nothing that leads me to believe he shouldn't be in this top.
yeah. I think part of the reason his WAR was so high was also because he threw 202 innings.
Yeah,
Just an absolute workhorse. Felt like he was deep
that's
in the game
valuable
every
within
single
itself,
time.
though.
Right, absolutely. So I I don't think I'm gonna go away from Sanchez here. Um, I think my number five is gonna be Yamamoto.
Me too. All right, we're in agreement
Yep.
with starting pitchers.
I the To throw out some honorable mentions, I looked at Hunter Brown.
Brown is my
I
number
looked
six.
at I actually went down to Brian Wu because he was exceptional this year and really kind of found himself as an ace
Hmm.
this year for
Yeah, he was
that
good.
Mariners team who has a lot of good pitching. Um, and then I think those are really the only two names I really tripped up over. I looked at Freed for like a millisecond and then kind of just didn't.
Yeah,
Because his second half was not good at all, at least in comparison to what he did in the first half.
yeah, he kind
Um,
of fell off, got fatigued, got hit more than he usually does, or at least he did in April and
right. Yeah. So, yep, Yamamoto was pretty spectacular this year, and I think the postseason run really kind of showcased what he can actually do.
May. Hmm.
Um, and I honestly expect a lot more of that in the future, which is unfortunate because that means the Dodgers will win more.
Yeah,
But you know what? It is what it is.
and I
So,
don't even think he needed the postseason run. Like his ERA was
yeah.
250 at almost 175 innings. Like it's very good.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
He's a great pitcher. I think that's a good list. Pretty impressive that it happened quickly, but I
Right.
wouldn't change
Yeah.
a thing about it. I looked at Hunter Brown too. He's
I,
did some special things, but he's behind these five, and that's totally fair and okay to say.
yep. All right. How many innings pitched should I have for relievers? I'm going to do 80.
If you go to positional split, you can sort it as a relief pitcher.
Oh, there we go. Interesting.
Definitely interesting.
I think Chapman for sure is
Yeah,
in there.
it was a little silly.
It really was. I mean, a 1.17 ERA is pretty undeniable. And
Hmm.
when your expected ERA is 2.05, you're doing something ridiculously right. He didn't give up a hit for a month, I
It
believe it
barely hit
was.
the ball off of him.
And yeah, 32 saves, just so, so good. What is he now? 37, still throwing over 100? Something like
Yeah,
that.
he's at least 37, I think. He's old,
Yeah, I
but
think he might be older than that.
he
And
throws it really
just
fast.
still throwing 100 miles an hour like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And for sure, a top three reliever in baseball, at least last year.
I want to put a
Hmm.
point in for Edwin Diaz as well,
Yeah, Diaz
because
was
in terms of
the
end of the
ultimate.
game closers, the RA is second best.
Right, yeah. And he was an absolute nightmare to watch because likes to do this thing where he walks the bases loaded and then gets out of it like it's nothing. Um, but he was so good. And,
Hmm. He really was.
I don't think, I think he was out with an injury for like a very small portion of the season, and that's why his production wasn't as high. That and because the Mets were either winning games by five or losing games by five, and there was just no reason for him to
Yeah.
go out there and pitch. But it was when he was out there on the mound, it really didn't feel like you could lose. And I think that's what makes it so easy for him to slide in the top three is because he just wasn't giving up hits. When he first got with the Mets, he was giving up home runs every once in a while. He did his famous finger point to the sky when he's given up a 450-foot home run.
It happens.
Yeah, when you're Edwin Diaz, it happens, I guess. But um, yeah, easily top three. Don't really need to spend too
I
too
think
much
so too.
time there.
And we just need to find ourselves a third
I
reliever here.
have my eyes on a guy, but I want to. Oh, mm. All right, now I'm torn.
There are a couple guys.
Now I'm torn between three.
Who are your three? Because I might be torn between the same three.
My three are Mason Miller, Andres Munoz, and Abner Uribe.
Miller, Andrews. Uribe was sneaky nice.
He really was. When I saw that 1.67 ERA, I was pretty wildly impressed. Um, and plus his strikeout rate is, or his Ks per nine is pretty good. Not as
Hmm.
good as some of the other guys, but doesn't walk a lot. He was pretty nice.
Yeah, I think my lean would be for Munoz because of the saves.
Yeah, his production was
That
just on another level.
that's a just a great indicator of you're doing your job when stakes are the highest
Yeah,
and when it's on
no,
the line the most. And
absolutely.
I think Uribe was a fantastic mid-inning guy, but in terms of being in the top three, I think having it be if it's coming down to a eighth inning guy or a closer with that stats, I would give it to Munoz.
Yeah, I think Munoz is where I'm gonna end up going as
Amazing.
well. I looked at Duran a little bit,
I did too.
but like Mason Miller, if his ERA wasn't a 2.63, I think he would be the pick, but he had too many outings where he would get hit around a little bit, which was
Mhm.
is kind of crazy to say. But I think I'll slide Munoz in at that three spot as well. I feel like that's totally fair. Um, but yeah, it's definitely close. Ooh, Morihone made a run for it too. He needs a
Yeah,
shout.
well, that was
He
good
had a
too.
fantastic year.
He's been sneaky good for a few years now. And my guy Garrett Whitlock, obviously not a closer either, but
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing. He had a fantastic year. I mean, he's third in reliever WAR for a reason. So,
yeah. Well, we have our team set.
yeah.
Fallbar All-Stars. Try and say that times fast.
Yeah.
Cal Raleigh's the catcher. Nick Kurtz first base. Ketel Marte second base. Jose Ramirez at third. Bobby Witt at short. Field Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Corbin Carroll, and Ohtani the DH. Pitchers Skeen, Scooble, Crochet, Christopher Sanchez, Yamamoto, and then the relievers Edwin Diaz, Aroldis Chapman, and Andres Munoz. It's a good group. It's the best guys of 2025.
Yeah. I mean, I don't we had a little bit of banter there of who might go over who, but I think at the end of the day, most of these guys kind of ran away with it.
Yeah, I think so
Um,
too.
but it's interesting to see if they'll be able to repeat production
Mhm.
in this coming year.
Yeah, for sure. I know we're on the clock here a little bit. What else do you have that you want to get off before we get out of here for this episode?
I don't have too much because the free agency has been so dormant, but
We'll talk about
uh
that next episode.
yeah, I believe by the time we're together next, there will be at least one, hopefully, please, one just big guy that goes
I
off
think one
or
will
that
go to this week.
who?
One will go. I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
who, but probably Bregman or
Yeah.
Bichette.
Yeah, it seems like those guys will be the early ones. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people are making pushes for Tucker and Bellinger, but
Yeah.
I think they're kind of trying to wait him out right now as well.
Yeah.
So,
With that, that is the all fall bar team. Our podcast name's kind of a tongue twister. Those are our guys for 2025, though. Next week, when we're back in the M Town, we will talk about where the free agents are at. And thank you guys for tuning in for listening.